Hello everybody, I'm going to be creating this layout. I am using some 7 Dot Studio Northern Lights paper and also some 49 and Market flowers, which I absolutely love these flowers that I'm going to use today. So I'm starting off by adding some clear gesso to the paper. And you can find all of these supplies listed down below, so be sure to check it out. And I will also have a coordinating blog post over on my website, so be sure to check out my website, tiffany.solorio.com. Also find me on Instagram. I post I want to say almost regularly over there, little sneak peeks and just different things that I have going on creatively. It's Tiffany Solorio Creates. And I do have a personal Instagram as well. That's just mainly just my kids and things we're doing, nothing crafting related. I am tearing the first paper. I decided that I wanted 2 different papers. So I'm tearing the first one that I added gesso to in half, and then I'm just going to layer it on top there. And I'm actually going to be using some scrapbook.com adhesive, which I'll show in a second, but I did want to add some clear gesso to the bottom just so that if I was planning on using any sprays or paints or anything, it would be nice and prepped already. And the gesso acts as a barrier, so if you were to add sprays to the paper, the sprays don't seep into the paper right away. It kind of just sits on top, and then you can create that really nice mixed media background if you want to. So like I said, I'm going to be using the scrapbook.com adhesive, and this is a huge roll, and right now it is on sale, so be sure to check it out. I feel this is going to last me quite a while, and I love it because you can tear it as wide as you want, or as you can see here, I'm just kind of tearing pieces off. It's 6 inches wide. I can't remember exactly how many feet is in there, but as you could see, there is a ton. So they do come in sheets as well, like 8.5 by 11 sheets, I want to say, and then also a fourth of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. There might be a couple other different ones that I can't remember, but yeah, they have a ton of adhesive, so be sure to check it out. And all of the supplies will be listed down below, like always. So I line it up, and I put the top onto the bottom paper. Now I'm just going to cut down my photo, and this is a picture that I took when we went camping. I forced my kids to kind of get dressed nicer. I took a dress for Abby and just some nicer clothes for Mateo, just because the scenery is just so gorgeous up there where we go in Utah, and it's about 2.5 hours away. And I love having really nice pictures of my kids to scrapbook and print out and put up in my house. So I forced them to take some pictures for me. They didn't want to, but in the end, I'm glad that I forced them to, because I love just having those really nice pictures of my kids. So I have that resin frame, and it is a memory hardware frame. It's made by Prima, but Frank Garcia designs them. And I just added some white crackle paste to it. And I'm also adding some white crackle paste to the layout. And you could see here, I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want the crackle paste to kind of frame the frame, I guess. And like always, I add thicker in some areas and thinner in other areas. This way I have a nice variation of cracks because the thicker the crackle paste, the larger the cracks. The thinner the crackle paste, the smaller the cracks. So I like having that variation. It just gives the project a little bit more interest, and I am just going to set that aside to dry, and I'm actually going to be painting some chipboard pieces that I made myself. I will have a link in the upper right hand corner to that video. I share how I use my wafer thin dies to create chipboard pieces that I will use, and it's just a simple way to recycle and just kind of get different elements for your projects that you would want. So I'm just painting them with some white gesso, and then I have this metal piece here that I'm just adding some white gesso to as well. And then I'm going to take my heat tool, because it is metal, it is a little hard to add the gesso to it. So what I do is I take the heat tool, and as I am adding the gesso, I'm heating it as as I'm putting it on, and it makes it a little bit tacky, and then just kind of adheres a little bit better, and it just kind of creates a really cool look at the same time. After the Crackle paste dries, I am going to be adding some light and fluffy modeling paste from the Crafter's Workshop with the Crafter's Workshop stencil. This is from Gabrielle. I cannot pronounce her last name, so I'm not even going to try, but I do have it listed down below. But this is probably one of my favorite stencils to use. For this layout, I just wanted a little bit of texture in the back, and this is the perfect stencil for that. It's just very thin lines and just kind of going in all different directions, just giving a little bit of texture and interest for the layout. I do add the paste kind of randomly here and there. I don't do the full stencil, just kind of bits and pieces just to give a nice random look to it. I did accidentally do that one on top a little bit crooked, so I kind of straightened it up on the last one that I added there. I kind of placed the little chipboard pieces where I wanted them, so now I'm just adding them with some Fabri-Tac glue. I love this glue because when it dries, it is very strong. But in the meantime, like if I were to change my mind, I can kind of move the embellishments around a little bit if I wanted to. So as you could see here, I'm just kind of placing them where I want them. Now I am taking that frame, I'm just going to add a generous amount of glue on the back, because what I'm doing is I am taking like this raffia type of, I don't even know exactly what it is, but it came in one of the 49 and Market flower packages, and I just loved it. It was already in a circle, but I thought it would be really cool if I wrapped it around this frame. I do this a lot on my like my canvases that I do with mixed media and things like that, but a lot of times I will use different kinds of like jute twine and things like that, but I thought this would give a nice cool effect to the frame. So after I did that, and after it's all dried, I kind of placed around where I wanted the flowers, and that way I can just glue them down, and I'm not kind of fussing around with where I want them on camera. So I just adhere them with some Fabri-Tac, and I'm just going to continue to add the flowers. There's Abby saying hi. She always wants to say hi when I do videos. And yeah, I will be back shortly to finish up the layout. saw, I did add some upholstery thread behind some of the flowers just to give the layout a little bit more texture. I knew I wanted a nice muted layout, and I wasn't going to add too much embellishments, like different types of embellishments and different things like that. So I thought that the upholstery thread would be a nice little extra texture. I'm also adding some gesso to the flowers, to the frame, and then also that taffeta type of stuff that I added to the frame just to make sure that everything blended together nicely and just so that everything ties nicely together. And you could see that it definitely does make everything come together really nice. So I added the photo and I used a ton of foam adhesive, not foam adhesive, but like the fun foam that I always use. I get it at Walmart or on Amazon, and it's just a cheap way to pop up my photos or any other embellishments that I want, and it doesn't weigh down the project. So I forgot that I needed to add that metal piece, so I added that there. And now I'm just kind of going in and adding a few different little flowers here and there. I love these packs of flowers from 49 and Market. They have tons of different sizes, and I love that all of the colors are perfectly matched, because I did have a couple of the, what is this color called? I have it right here. It is Shadow. This color is called Shadow, and I loved that I was able to get a few different packages and the colors just match so perfectly. Definitely going to have to get more of these flowers. So again, I'm just going in and adding little touches of flowers here and there, and I just couldn't help myself adding so many flowers. This is probably the most flowers I've used on a layout or a project in a long time. But I just couldn't help but use them. They're really pretty. So I'm just adding the gesso just to kind of wash them out and tone them down a little bit. And then I'm going to cover up the photo, and I'm going to add the white splatters that I always do. And like always, I'm using the Distress Spray stain in Picket Fence. Just going to splatter that on kind of randomly. And on top, it doesn't really show that much, the splatters, just because there already is those little white stars on the top, but the bottom, it definitely shows a little bit more. So after the splatters dry just a little bit, I am going to go in with some Archival ink in the color Coffee and use a Finnabair stamp and just randomly stamp a little bit of texture here and there. I felt it needed just a little bit more of something. It's hard to see on the video and actually in the photos, but in person you could see there's just a little bit of script texture that it gives to the layout. And I stamp it kind of randomly and then also onto the chipboard pieces just to give them a little bit of texture as well and a little bit of interest. I also added a Kaiser Craft wood veneer piece. I painted it white. It says Choose Happiness, and I took some of these stickers from the Cotton Candy Dreams collection from 7 Dot Studios and put them up there. It says Live Inspired and Follow Your Heart. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And you can always share this video on social media and with your friends. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.